Hi, my name is Doug Schmidt, and I am the Anchor Groups Director here at Crossroads Church. Anchor Groups is what we call our small groups ministry here. Meeting in small groups for meaningful discussions about biblical truths is something that Jesus did all the time. Certainly did it with the 12 disciples, and then with his smaller small group of Peter, James, and John. And since we are all about Jesus here at Crossroads, we are going to take seriously what he did and imitate that practice. And part of that is frequently meeting with a small group of believers to talk about what God is doing in each of our lives. At Crossroads, we view participating in anchor groups as a type of spiritual discipline, right up there with Bible study, prayer, and putting into action the gifts that Jesus has given us. In fact, part of what we do in small groups is talk about what God is teaching us as we have been doing those things. Now, there are basically 4 characteristics of an anchor group that set it apart from a Bible study or a class at Crossroads. The first one is the discussion is always biblically based. So we're either doing a study out of a book of the Bible or from a book that is based on biblical principles. We have something also that we created called the Summit every week that is a customized Bible study for the anchor groups that's based on the sermon topic for that week. And so what that does is it cuts down on preparation time for the anchor group leaders, and it gives something for the group to follow along that they all have in common, namely what they heard and experienced during the weekend services. A second aspect of the anchor group experience is prayer. We want to collectively bring our requests to God, and even in our small group times, it becomes a time of worship. The third aspect of our anchor groups is service projects. When we do service projects as an anchor group, we not only bond together, but we build bridges with people outside in the community, and thus we fulfill Crossroads' mission to serve people toward Jesus. And then the final fourth characteristic of anchor groups is that we strive to be deeply connected to one another and know what's going on in each other's lives. This is where my anchor group meets once a week every Thursday evening. I can't imagine what my life would be like apart from my anchor group. If my wife and I were to experience some kind of crisis, these people would swoop down, care for us, pray for us, and do whatever it took to get us back on our feet. And of course, we would do the same for them. It took a while for trust levels to get to that point, but it was well worth the time we invested to get there. There are basically 4 ways to get involved with an anchor group at Crossroads. The first, easiest way is to apply to start your own group. You know, it only takes 3 people to start an anchor group. So if you already know some folks at Crossroads who want to be involved in an anchor group on a particular night, come see us, and one way or another, we will get things started for you. If childcare is a problem, we will have rooms set up at each campuses during a particular night of the week where you can have childcare free of charge, and your anchor group can meet in one of those rooms. And if you think you're going to need some tips on how to keep the conversation going in this context, look for a workshop called How to Lead a Group Discussion, and you'll get the skills you need to be able to do that successfully. Another way to get involved in anchor groups is to attend one of our monthly meet and greets that will convene in between each service on Sunday mornings at the different campuses. At these events, you'll be able to meet leaders of existing groups who have openings in their groups. Another option is to attend what we call access groups, which will be 3 or 4 week sessions where you can get a taste of what it's like to be in an anchor group. Another option is to look at MyCC for existing groups and see if there's a group that meets on a night of the week that you like that's nearby you. Give the leader a call and just plan on making a visit. Here's what we kind of expect when it comes to finding a good group for you. Plan on visiting at least 3 times, and after that, make a decision. And if it's not a good fit for you, try another group. There will be no hard feelings. And so, I would like to conclude with a question that we ask ourselves all the time. As an adult follower of Christ, who is responsible for your spiritual growth? Is it one of the pastors? It is a small group leader, a Sunday school teacher, your spouse? No, we know what the answer is. The answer is that as an adult follower of Christ, that you are responsible for your spiritual growth. And we make no bones about it. At Crossroads, we believe that the best place for spiritual growth is in an anchor group, where you are connecting with other believers and people know what's going on in your life, and you can care for them in the same way. So strive to be in an anchor group, and we will be here to make it as easy as possible, give you whatever tools you need to make that happen.